I'm on the Monticello website where you can look up Jefferson quotes from his papers, and this one's from July 12th, 1816. He says, "If we run into such debts as that we must be taxed in our meat and in our drink, in our necessaries and our comforts, in our labors and our amusements, for our callings and our creeds, as the people of England are, our people, like them, must come to labor 16 hours in the 24, give the earnings of 15 of these to the government for their debts and daily expenses, and the 16th being insufficient to afford us bread, we must live as they do now, on oatmeal and potatoes." This is interesting for a couple reasons. Although he does mention meat and drink, he goes on to say how, basically, we'd have to work 16 hours in the day, and we'd only get to keep the labors of our last hour, which would be insufficient to afford bread. Notice he's not saying insufficient to afford meat, dairy, and eggs, because that's not what they ate as the primary staples of their diet. He says, being insufficient to afford us bread, we must live as they, the British, do on oatmeal and potatoes. In England, there was an aristocracy made up of the titled nobility and the upper clergy, whose members had the privilege of sitting on the House of Lords. There was also what has been referred to as a middle class, composed of the landed gentry and merchants and tradesmen. There were assorted other free men with less privileges like yeomen farmers, mechanics, and parish priests. In England, there was also the disenfranchised, who did not have the basic political and economic privileges to be independent. An attempt was made to transfer the outline of this system to America. Based on Jefferson's contemporary report, it seems likely to me that the majority of people, with the exception of royalty and some aristocracy, lived primarily on a starch-based diet, where the preferred fuel source was bread, and when that was not affordable, oatmeal and potatoes would suffice. It's interesting to think that the standard American diet mimics the decadent and luxurious dietary patterns of the royalty from which we once spared ourselves from subjugation. Perhaps our delusions of grandeur have led us to become our own oppressors, as indicated by the incidence of chronic disease now afflicting this nation.
Oh, come on! What the hell?